John Wayne, the famous cowboy of Hollywood, stayed quiet for many years. He worked with many big stars, but he never shared what he really felt about them. Now, at the age of 72, he finally spoke about something very shocking. He revealed the names of gay actors from old Hollywood that he secretly did not like. This is not just gossip, it is a truth that many people never expected. What he said will make you look at Hollywood in a whole new way. Get ready to hear the names and the reason behind his silence. Before we dive into video, please subscribe our channel. Number 1. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. In the 1950s and 60s, he played strong romantic heroes in many famous movies. Women all over the world loved him. They dreamed of being with him. On the screen, he looked like the perfect man, tall, handsome, charming, and always in control. But off the screen, Rock Hudson was hiding a secret that could have ended his career forever. Rock Hudson was gay. At that time, being openly gay in Hollywood was dangerous. If people found out, an actor could lose everything: fans, roles, money, and respect. So Rock had to pretend. He dated women in public. He even got married once, but it was not a real marriage. It was just to keep the public from knowing the truth. He was living a double life, and that took a lot of strength. John Wayne worked in the same Hollywood circles as Rock Hudson. They both were seen as symbols of real men, but their ideas about life and manhood were very different. John Wayne believed in traditional values. He liked things to be simple, straight, and strong. He did not like the idea of men hiding who they were, especially when it came to something as personal as their identity. When John Wayne finally spoke at age 72, he said he never felt comfortable around Rock Hudson. He said, "I always felt like there was something not right. Something was hidden, and I could not trust that." Wayne believed that a man should be honest about who he is, but he also felt that being gay did not fit into the image of a strong American man, the kind he loved to play in his films. It is important to understand that the world was very different back then. Many people had narrow views. Being gay was seen as wrong by many, even though it was not. Rock Hudson never did anything bad. He was kind, respectful, and professional. But still, people like John Wayne judged him for something he could not change. When Rock Hudson got very sick in the 1980s, he became the first famous person to speak openly about having AIDS. This was a turning point in history. People finally started to talk about the disease and about the gay community. Rock showed great courage. Even though he had kept his secret for most of his life, in the end, he helped many people understand the truth. John Wayne may have secretly disliked Rock Hudson, but history remembers Hudson as a brave man. He fought 2 battles, one on the screen and one inside himself. And in many ways, he won both. His story is not just about Hollywood. It is about fear, strength, and being true to yourself, even when the world tells you not to be. Number 2, Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift was not just a movie star. He was a true artist. Many people say he was one of the best actors of his time. He gave everything to every role. His eyes were full of emotion, and his voice carried deep feeling. When he acted, it felt real. He did not pretend, he became the character. Fans and directors loved him, but behind his talent, there was a man who was hurting inside. Montgomery Clift was gay, but he could not talk about it. In the 1940s and 50s, being gay in Hollywood was something you had to hide. The world was not kind to people like him. He lived with fear every day. Fear of being exposed, fear of being rejected, and fear of losing everything he had worked for. He was very close friends with famous stars like Elizabeth Taylor, who supported him. But still, he was alone in many ways. He never got to live his truth in public. He drank too much and used painkillers to hide the sadness he carried. After a terrible car accident in 1956, his face changed. He was never the same again, both inside and out. John Wayne worked during the same time as Montgomery Clift, but they were very different people. John Wayne played strong, confident cowboys and soldiers. He was known for being tough and loud. Montgomery Clift was quiet, sensitive, and full of emotion. Some people in Hollywood saw Clift as too soft or too different. Sadly, John Wayne was one of those people. When John Wayne finally shared his thoughts at 72, he said he never understood Montgomery Clift. He said Clift looked too sad, too troubled, and not like a real man. Wayne admitted he avoided working with Clift and did not trust him. He believed men should be strong and fearless. He thought Clift's personal struggles made him weak. But that was not true. Montgomery Clift was not weak. He was strong in a different way. He fought a quiet battle every day against fear, pain, and loneliness. He acted with honesty and heart, even when he was breaking inside. His performances still move people today. They feel real because they came from real pain. John Wayne may have disliked Clift, but the world now sees the truth. Clift was ahead of his time. He showed that it was okay for men to feel deeply. He broke the rules of Hollywood by being different, even if he had to do it in silence. His story is not just sad, it is powerful. It reminds us that some of the brightest stars shine through the darkest nights. Montgomery Clift gave us beauty, truth, and emotion, and he did it while carrying a secret he could never speak aloud. Number 3. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins was best known for one unforgettable role, Norman Bates, in the movie Psycho. His performance scared millions of people. He made the world believe that a gentle, quiet man could hide something dark inside. But in real life, Anthony Perkins was hiding something too. Not something evil, but something very personal. Anthony Perkins was gay. Like many actors in old Hollywood, he had to keep his truth a secret. In the 1950s and 60s, being gay could destroy a career. People believed that leading men had to look strong, masculine, and most of all, straight. If fans found out an actor was gay, they might stop watching his movies. Studio bosses were afraid of losing money, so they forced actors like Perkins to live a lie. Anthony tried to play the game. He dated women in public. He followed all the rules Hollywood gave him, but behind closed doors, he was someone else. He fell in love with men. He wrote poetry. He stayed quiet, even though his heart wanted to speak. He once said, "I have always been drawn to the shadows." John Wayne was the opposite of Anthony Perkins. Wayne was loud, bold, and proud of his strong opinions. He believed in traditional values. To him, men had to act a certain way. When he looked at actors like Anthony Perkins, he did not see strength. He saw weakness. He once told a friend, "That boy gives me the chills. I do not trust a man who smiles but never speaks his mind." When John Wayne spoke at age 72, he admitted that he never liked Perkins. He called him too soft and said, "Hollywood is no place for men who hide." Wayne believed that Perkins was pretending, not just in movies, but in life. What he did not understand was that Perkins was only pretending because he had to. If he had told the truth, he would have lost everything. But Anthony Perkins was more than his fear. He was a deeply thoughtful actor. He brought pain and depth to every role he played. He once fell in love with fellow actor Tab Hunter, but their love had to remain secret. It broke his heart. Still, he kept working, kept acting, and kept hiding. Later in life, Perkins married a woman and had children. Some say it was another mask. Others believe he found peace. But one thing is sure, he was always trying to find a balance between who he was and what the world expected. In the end, Anthony Perkins died of AIDS-related illness in 1992. He never spoke openly about being gay, but his eyes, his performances, and his silence told the story. He lived in a world that would not let him be free. And even though John Wayne judged him, today we remember Anthony Perkins as a brave soul, one who dared to feel deeply in a time that punished people for doing so. Number 4. Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr was one of the most respected actors of his time. Most people knew him as Perry Mason, the smart and serious lawyer who always won in court. Later, he became famous again as Ironside, a tough detective in a wheelchair. He was calm, strong, and confident on screen, the kind of man people looked up to. But in real life, Raymond Burr was hiding a secret that he took to the grave. Raymond Burr was gay. He spent his entire life covering it up. He told lies about having been married to a woman who died. He also made up stories about having a son who passed away. None of it was true. There was no wife and no child. He created these stories to protect himself from a world that would not accept him for who he really was. For more than 30 years, Raymond Burr lived with his partner, Robert Benavides. They shared a home, ran a vineyard together, and built a quiet life away from the cameras. But Burr never spoke about their relationship in public. In interviews, he always stayed private. He feared that if the truth came out, everything he worked for would be taken away. John Wayne and Raymond Burr came from very different worlds. Wayne was all about open strength, big roles, bold opinions, and traditional values. He believed in being straightforward and hated anything he thought was fake. So when he talked about Raymond Burr later in life, he said, "I never knew what that man was really about. Always quiet, always guarded. That kind of hiding makes me uneasy." John Wayne believed a man should be proud of who he is, but only if it matched his idea of what a man should be. To him, Raymond Burr seemed like someone who was always acting, even off the screen. He could not understand why Burr had to lie about his past. What Wayne did not see was that Burr had no choice. The world around him was not safe. Telling the truth me, and losing his roles, his respect, and maybe even his freedom. Still, Burr kept working. He played powerful roles with honesty and heart. People believed in his characters. They trusted him, even if they never really knew him. In his personal life, he gave quietly to charities and helped friends who were sick or struggling. He lived with kindness, even while carrying a heavy secret. Raymond Burr died in 1993. Only after his death did many people learn the full truth. And when they did, most were not angry. They were sad. Sad that a man who gave so much to the world had to hide so much of himself. John Wayne may have disliked the silence, but Burr's silence was his armor. Behind that wall was a man who loved, gave, and stayed true to his own quiet strength. Hollywood has always been a place of lights, fame, and big dreams. But behind the glamour, many stars lived with deep pain. John Wayne saw the world in black and white, and he judged others who did not fit his idea of a real man. But the actors he disliked, Rock Hudson, Montgomery Clift, Anthony Perkins, Raymond Burr, were fighting silent battles every day. They acted not just on screen, but in life. Today, we remember them not for their secrets, but for their strength. Their truth was hidden then, but now, their stories finally shine